This web app takes a color and generates a range of tints and shades. There's a color picker, I can choose how many steps to generate, and I can click to copy any color I like. And I built this. It uses React, Vite, TypeScript, and it's styled with Tailwind.css. But here's the thing, I don't know how to code with React or TypeScript, and I've never used Tailwind before. Everything you just saw, well, that app was made entirely by AI. All I did was describe what I wanted. The AI used all these technologies I'm not familiar with and just built it. I asked for several changes along the way, but I didn't write a single line of code. And this experience taught me one thing. The way we build apps is changing, and it's changing fast. What used to take weeks or months now takes minutes or hours, and all of that thanks to AI. Now, traditional coding is powerful, but it comes at a cost. You either spend months learning it or you hire a professional developer. Both of these are expensive, both in time and money. A solution to this is AI-powered development. This allows you to build even if you're not a developer. Tools like Bolt let you describe your idea, and AI builds the app for you. It's what people call vibe coding. And in this video, I'll show you how to go from idea to working app with zero code, what to do when the AI gets it wrong, and whether or not developers are out of a job or just evolving when tools like this exist. So, are you ready to get started? Let's go.
This video is brought to you by Envato, the unlimited creative subscription. The broadest range of categories, everything that you need to make great videos. Follow the link in the description and start creating now.
Vibe coding is an AI-driven approach to programming where you describe what you want to create in plain language, and then a large language model, or LLM in short, turns that into working code. So essentially, you're not writing any code yourself. Instead, you are guiding the AI, you're checking the results, and occasionally you make tweaks as needed. This term was introduced by Andrej Karpathy in February 2025. Andrej is a computer scientist, co-founder of OpenAI, and former AI leader at Tesla. Karpathy explained that his method is conversational. He gives voice commands and the AI writes the code for him. In his tweet, Andrej said, "I'm building a project or web app, but it's not really coding. I just see stuff, say stuff, run stuff, and copy-paste stuff, and it mostly works." Now, this is all possible thanks to LLMs, or large language models, that are specifically tuned for coding tasks. And the app that I showed you earlier, Bolt, uses one of these models to create working code from simple text prompts. But Bolt is just one tool in a growing ecosystem of AI-powered development platforms. So let's take a quick look at what else is out there currently and what each one does best. We start with Replit. This is a dev environment with AI-assisted coding. Great for live collaboration, deploying projects, and learning. Cursor is an AI assistant built into VS Code and ideal for developers who want AI in their existing workflow. Pythagora is an extension for VS Code and Cursor that uses 14 AI agents working together to help you build full-stack web apps. Loveable is great for creating more polished front-end apps, but also full-stack projects. And finally, Klein is another VS Code extension that's great for AI development and collaboration. And these are just a few examples of AI-powered development platforms. If you do a quick Google search for, vibe coding or, AI development, I'm sure you'll find a whole bunch more. Now, we have some idea of what vibe coding is. We know a couple of the tools that are out there that can help us do this thing. So let's go ahead and build our own app without writing any code. And the app I'm going to build is a tint and shade generator. This is something that I use all the time when designing, and while there are similar apps out there, I can't really find one that has the exact set of features that I want. So I'm gonna build it the way I want to use the app, or more specifically, the AI will build it for me. And the tool I'll be using for this demonstration is Bolt. You need to create a free account in order to use it. And once you do that, you just enter your prompt and Bolt will do all the work for you. So let's start with something simple. I'll tell it to create a tint and shade generator for a given hex color. So let's go and see what happens. Right away, we can see the AI write code. We can see the file list right here. It uses TypeScript, it uses NPM, a whole bunch of things. And this is what it got. First attempt. Let's see if this works. So it started with this base color. It generated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tints and 5 shades. And we also have the base color here. And I can click on the copy button to copy that color. And let's just paste it in here. Yes, it does work. And let's see if we change the color. One thing that I am missing here is a color picker, right? So I cannot click this color to pick it from the color wheel. And also, let's see if I pick a color from somewhere on the screen. Let's say that one, and I paste it. Okay, so pasting a color works. For a first attempt, this works really nicely. We can always, see the code behind it. It's using Tailwind to style everything. And of course, we can always see the preview. But this is pretty limited. So let's try giving it a more complex prompt and see the difference. So I'm going to open this in a new tab and let's give it this prompt. So create a simple web app where users input a hex color and the app generates a range of tints and shades. Display the generated colors as a horizontal gradient. Add sliders to adjust the lightness and darkness percentages. Make the UI minimal and clean. So let's see what that is doing. And by the way, this is happening in real time. I'm not speeding up this video in any way. It's really cool to see how the AI writes the code. It just happens so fast. Okay, so that's interesting. We have a totally different result this time. Yeah, it kind of did what I asked it to do. It included these ranges, and you can control like how many tints and shades you want using these sliders. And we also have the gradient being displayed here. But we have some problems, with the layout here, because it displays the colors in HSL format, and obviously these are too big to fit in each individual box. So we have a mess on the layout here. And let's see, can I click to copy one of these? If I click this, yeah, it says click to copy color. And let's see what got copied. Yeah, so the HSL format got copied to the clipboard, not the hex color. So as you can see, different prompt, and it generated almost a completely different app. So let's try that again. Let's open up a new tab and let's give it this prompt. So similar to what we had before, but this time I said, include a copy hex button for each generated colors and display results in a grid format with labels. And also add a dark mode toggle for the interface. Let's run that. All right, so let's see what we got this time. Well, this is much better. We have the tints and the shades. We have a copy button that also lets me know that, okay, we copied that color. I can choose the number of steps for each color. Very nice. And now I have a color picker. And this updates automatically. Now notice that I did not ask a color picker in the prompt. So the app just made it for me. So totally different result than what we had before. And now it's displaying the colors correctly in their hex format. And we also have this dark mode, light mode toggle. And it actually does the whole styling process really nicely. Cool. How long do you think it would have taken a developer to create this app? Well, definitely longer than a couple of minutes that it took the AI. I'm not saying this app is just perfectly coded, but if you want something done quickly, then this is a great alternative. Now, finally, let's do one last prompt here. And I'm basically going to tell it to, do the same thing. AI-powered app that takes a hex color and generates 10 shades, but also generate a complementary color palette. And then use AI to suggest harmonious color schemes based on the base color. And then I also want the results to be displayed in separate sections, tints, shades, and suggested palettes. Make it visually appealing with modern UI, animations, and smooth transitions. So let's see how that works. And it's coding, and it's coding. All right, so let's see what we got. We still have the color picker, which is great news. Let's go for some of this kind of royal blue. So it generates the tints, which let's see if I can copy these. Okay, so the copy works correctly. It generates the shades. It generates also the palettes. So this is a complementary palette, triadic and analog or analogous. And if I change this, let's say to this orange. Yeah, so it seems to be doing just fine in terms of recommending the palettes and also generating the tints and the shades. Dark mode also works kind of. There is a bit of an issue here with the text. It doesn't change color when I go into the dark mode. And yeah, there's a bit of a border issue here on the color picker. But yeah, other than that, functionally, it works out pretty well. So we have 4 different results. This is where we started, and we didn't actually have the ability to pick our color from here. And then this one was a bit more complex, but we had some layout issues. And the third one was probably the best version that we got, even though, there are some small layout issues with this one as well. For instance, what is up with this arrow? It doesn't have any kind of padding inside that select control. And finally, the fourth one, the one with the suggested palettes. The results so far have been really interesting. As you saw, different prompts produce different results, and the more complex the end result, the more detailed the prompt needs to be. You really need to be specific with the AI and tell it exactly what you want the app to do and how you want it to function. Now, let's actually start from scratch again, but this time, instead of different prompts, we're going to start with a single prompt and then just ask the AI to update the app. Just make iteration after iteration until we get to where we want. Let's go. Now, this is basically what I want to create. I quickly designed this so I have an idea of what I want the app to do. So the gist of it is this. We click this and we pick a color, or we paste it in this field. We select the number of steps we want to generate here, and then those steps are divided into tints and shades, or lighter and darker versions of that color. We also have a random color button, and I want to be able to click on one of these boxes and copy the hex code. Also, I want to use this numbering system where 500 is the base color, and then it goes in increments of 50 or 100 for the other variations. And the higher the number, the darker the color. So in my case, the 50 tint is the lightest possible version, while the 950 is the darkest possible version. Now, when testing, I found that if I want the biggest chances of success with these AI tools, I need to be as specific as possible with my prompts. So to make things easier for me, I went to ChatGPT, I uploaded a picture of my UI, and I said, look, I basically want to build this app, and I need you, ChatGPT, to give me a prompt for Bolt.new. So based on the screenshot, it gave me this initial prompt, and then I said, okay, a couple of tweaks to that, and then it took those and wrote a new prompt for me. So I'm gonna copy this prompt, and as you can see, it's very detailed, and I'll go to Bolt, I'll paste it in and see how that works. All right, so let's see what we got. We have the color picker, great, and picking a color from here will change or will update the rest automatically. But we still have that problem where it randomly generates these shades here, and that's not exactly right, so we need to fix that. The base color itself is displayed here, which is okay, and we can click to generate a random color, so that works. And we can click to copy any of these, those work. But the problem that I'm having is that the tints go from 900 to 100, so that's incorrect. The shades go from 100 to 900, so that's kind of the opposite of what I was looking for. And you can't really click to copy the base color. So yeah, we have a couple of issues to fix. Let's start with the way the tints and shades are numbered. So we're going to ask Bolt the following. The tints and shades need to be numbered the following way. 50 is the lightest tint, 950 the darkest shade. Tints need to be displayed in order, so 50, 100, 150, 500, which is the base color, and then the shades need to be displayed 500 and then 550, 600, all the way to 950. So let's give it this prompt and see what it does. So it's telling me that, okay, I'll update the tint and shade numbering system to match the format you wanted. And let's see if it does that. We have a kind of a change here, but not the one that I wanted. So the base color, it's still here instead of here. Tints are numbered from 50 to 450, and it's the wrong order for the tints, even though I specifically told it that, hey, 50 is the lightest tint while 950 is the darkest shade. So it got things right with the shades, but not with the tints. So I can ask it again. I can say the order of the tints is wrong or is incorrect. 50 should be the lightest, 450 the darkest tint. Also, I want the base color to be displayed at the end of the tint list and at the start of the shade list. And this is one of the problems that I found when working with AI. It's really hard to get it to understand exactly what you want, even though you specifically tell it that, hey, this is wrong, this is how it should be, and it still gets it wrong sometimes. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The results that we're getting now are completely different from the ones that I got when I was doing my initial testing for this video. So let's see what we have. We have the tints now displayed in the correct order. Okay, so that's good. Then we have the shades displayed in the correct order. We can click to copy. That works. We can generate a random color. That works. We can pick a color. That's cool. Okay. And we can pick any color, and it's gonna work beautifully. Oh, except when we get to the bottom here, it just keeps on generating these shades. So weird. So it only happens when I go to the very bottom. So now when I basically go to black, it generates a bunch of shades for black. One thing that I am missing from here is a stepper, right? So a way to control the number of tints and shades. So let's ask it to do that. I'll say, please implement a way to control the number of tints and shades generated. So let's just give it that simple task and see how it does. All right, so it added this section here with color steps. So let's see. So if it does 5 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Correct. So 5 steps plus the base color. Okay, and I can go higher than 10. And the 1 is the minimum. Okay, so this works pretty well, except the numbering is now wrong. So we have 50, 162, 274, and I don't want that. I want these to be displayed in increments of either 50 or 100. And I think I'll just limit these steps to be a minimum of 5 and a maximum of 10. So I'll say I want the stepper to operate in the 5 to 10 range. Also, the color numbers should only be displayed in increments of 50 or 100. Okay, so let's see. We can only go between 5 and 10. That's correct. And then when we have the 10 steps, yeah, we go from 50 to currently 550 in terms of the tints. So 50, 100, 150. Yeah, so that's correct. And then shades. Yeah, now the shades are not displayed correctly here because we go from 500 to 600 to 7, and it goes all the way to 1500. So it doesn't use increments of 50 here, but for the shades, it uses increments of 100. So let's go ahead and fix that. And also, let's actually tell it to limit the upper range of the color steps to 9. So we would have 9 tints plus the base color, or 9 shades plus the base color. So we'll say limit the upper steps to 9, and also use increments of 50 or 100 for the shades. The whole range of color should exist between 50 and 950. Probably not the most detailed explanation, but let's see how it does. Okay, So let's go to the lower limit, which is 5. So it gives us 5100. Okay, so it gives me 5 steps plus what's supposed to be the base color, but it's labeled as 300 instead of 500. And the shades are okay. Let's actually increase this so it stops at 9, exactly what we wanted. Okay, shades are also displayed correctly. Let's see if we can copy the color, and we can. Let's see if we generate a random color. So that works. And we can also pick a color. And now we still have that issue where if we pick a really dark color, it generates a bunch of shades for it. So let's go ahead and fix that. I'm gonna tell it there is an unexpected, or I should say an incorrect behavior. When picking a very dark color, the app generates too many shades, way beyond the selected number of steps. So it tells me that, okay, I'll fix the issue with the dark colors generating too many shades. The problem, it says, is in the shade calculation logic. Okay, so let's see if it fixed it or not. It did not fix it. So let's actually be more specific here. Is it just when I pick a very dark color, or is it when I pick black? Just pure black. Okay, so it's just when I pick pure black that the issue happens. So I'll tell it the issue is still there, but happens only when I pick the black color. So as you can see, this entire process is conversational. I'm not really interested in what happens on the coding side of things, but what I am doing is pointing out things to the AI and asking it to make updates. I don't really care how it does it in the back end. All I care is that it works. So let's see if it actually works. If I go to black now, nope, it's still there. So the issue is still there. So let's see what happens. It says, I'll fix the issue with black colors by adjusting the shade calculation logic. The problem occurs because when the base color is black, all shades will also be black, since multiplying by any factor still results in 0. So it says it fixed it, but it didn't fix it, actually. So let's tell it, update the code so it doesn't generate any tints or shades if the color is either pure white, FFF, or pure black, 0, 0, 0. So let's see if that works. Okay, so it tells me that, okay, I've added some helper functions, blah, 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 modified. Okay, let's see if it works. So I can go to pure white and it says no tints or shades available. That's good. And no tints or shades available for pure black. But as soon as I go like one step higher, yeah, it's kind of still there. If I get like really close, let's see if I change this to HSL and I just do like 1% in lightness here. It actually works out pretty well. I'm happy with the result, even though now it kind of messed it up again. So there's a gremlin somewhere, and it just pops up when, you know, we're dealing with these very light colors, or with these very dark colors. Let's see if we change the color steps. Will that help in any way? Probably not. Yeah, so there it is. When I get like now even very close to pure black, it starts generating these extra shades, even though it's beyond the number of steps that I asked it to. I can't seem to find the problem here, even though I asked it repeatedly, or I pointed out that, hey, there is a problem with these darker colors. And I even suggested like a solution, just don't generate anything for white or black. And surely enough, it implemented that, but we still have some issues. So I can either, try and, I guess, reason with it and keep asking it to try and fix that error, or let's try a different approach. Let's go to ChatGPT and explain the situation. Maybe it can write a prompt that would resonate a little bit better with the Bolt AI. So I basically told it, look, I'm having a repeating problem with the color generator. I described the problem. Can you help with a prompt I can give the AI? So here's the prompt that it gave me, and it's a lot more detailed than what I wrote. And it basically says this. So I have a bug with the app. Please fix the shade generation logic so that the number of shades generated never goes beyond the set amount. When the base color is already very dark, avoid generating values that fall outside a valid color range. Interesting. You see, I wouldn't have thought of asking it this specifically. Use a reliable method to generate darker shades by blending the base color towards black, but cap the depth of shading so it stops at black and respects the number of steps. Also very interesting. The same should apply to tints, but they are working fine currently. And it also gives it a suggested approach here. Use mixed color, base black ratio or similar, where ratio ranges from 0 to 1 in evenly spaced steps based on the number of shades. Interesting. Okay, so let's copy this and let's paste it into Bolt and see what it does. So as you can see, the ChatGPT just gave me a prompt that I wouldn't have thought about myself. It's a lot more technical, it's a lot more detailed, and it just goes to show that you can use multiple AI-powered tools to get the job done. So let's see if this works. Let's go back to the color picker here, and nope, it's still there. The issue is still there. Yeah, when I get to a darker color, let's even increase the number of steps to see if that helps with anything. Nope. It's still the shade generation logic is kind of messed up. I wonder if I go like fewer steps, does that make a difference? Not really. It still generates additional shades. Yeah, interesting. So even with the more detailed, more technical prompt that ChatGPT gave me, I wasn't able to fix the problem. However, it's a thing that occurs only, when I select a very, very dark color. And I don't really do that. What I usually do is I start with a base color, like this one, which is a relatively light hue. And then I just want the lighter and darker versions of that hue. I never really start with a dark color. So currently for me, this works just fine. Now, once this app is done, you can actually deploy it. And Bolt specifically uses Netlify. You can just click on the deploy button, and this puts the app out there for free, and it gives you this link, right? So now the app is public and you can access it via this link, or anyone can access it via this link, and it functions exactly the same way. And if you want the files for yourself, maybe you want to get in touch with a developer, you can actually export these. You can open in Stack Blitz. I really don't know what that is. Or you can download a zip file with all the code that was written by the AI. So now you might ask, well, okay, what if, let's say I deploy this app today and I want to make a change 6 months later? Well, the thing with Bolt, and I'm sure with other tools, all of your chats, all of your projects are saved right here. So you can always go back to one of these and ask the AI to make changes. So you can pick up the project anytime you want, so that wouldn't really be an issue. Now, something else you might ask is, well, how do I change the UI for this? What if I don't like the UI? Well, that's a very valid question. In my case, here's roughly the UI that I wanted, and here's the UI that I got. So you can change that in either, if you have some coding experience, you can change the code yourself. If we go to this app.tsx file, you can see the kind of structure that the kind of HTML structure it's using right here, and you can start tinkering with that. Although you would use a tool like Bolt so that you don't have to write any code. Or additionally, if we open up the Bolt front page, there's a button here that says import from Figma. So you can actually import a Figma file, and Bolt will generate a layout based on that file. But it doesn't actually mean that it will generate the functionality for it. So let's click this, and I'm gonna paste the Figma URL. In Figma, you can right-click a frame, copy-paste as, copy link to selection, and we can just copy that from here. And I'm gonna say import Figma. So it's fetching all the elements from Figma. It's generating the code, which might take a while. Okay, and this is the preview that it gave me. So very, very close to what we had in the Figma file. But as I said, this is just a layout, right? Nothing really functions in here. I can, obviously type stuff in the color field, but there is no color picker, there is no click to copy, and the layout is roughly, I would say, like 95% there. There are still a few tweaks you can make, but it's a great starting point. So for this, I can say that, okay, I want to build an app or a web app based on the attached Figma file. And I basically describe what the app should do. And at the end, I tell it, please use the layout, styling, and visual details from the Figma file to guide the UI, but make sure the above functionality is fully implemented. So I can give it further instructions. I can say, okay, so you generated this layout from the Figma file that I gave you, but now I also need you to implement the functionality. So just as a final demonstration, let's see how it does. And if it comes anywhere near the functionality that we had previously developed. Okay, so apparently not. We have some potential problems. So let's see. We have some uncut type errors. So let's attempt to fix those, or tell Bolt to fix those problems. And then now it's doing the whole thing all over again. And now we have another problem. Uncaught syntax error. Let's attempt to fix it. So it finally got rid of all the errors. Let's see, we have a color picker here, but it's not as good as the one in the previous example. And I can't really type anything in this field, and I can't really choose, or I can actually, my mistake. But yeah, these tints and shades that it generates are not exactly correct. So this is far from the correct functionality for this app. Even though I have the layout that I want, the functionality is not there. So Yeah, just keep this in mind. I think it's much better to just start with something, build the correct functionality first, and then worry about how it looks like, because layout, styling, that can be tweaked much easier than the programming, the logic behind the app. So as you've seen, building with AI is definitely possible, but it does require a fair amount of human input and guidance. And even then, the AI clearly has its limitations, and it's up to you to work around those or bridge those gaps. Now, speaking of limitations, let's discuss that a little bit further, and also discuss about the role of developers in this new workflow. So we've seen what AI tools like Bolt can do, and honestly, it's very impressive. But let's talk about where things might start to fall apart. And the first place to start looking is the code. So let's have a look at this generated code. It uses TypeScript. Yeah, it uses Tailwind for styling. And you have access to all the files here. You can see what kind of npm modules were installed, etc. So is this code messy or not? Well, honestly, as a designer, I wouldn't know. That's the whole point of using an AI assistant to code. Or, as someone who doesn't have any experience with code, would that person be able to tell, oh, this is a badly written code, or not? They wouldn't, right? To them, code is code. It's gibberish, basically. It's something they don't understand. And I'm actually curious, looking at this code, as the viewer of this video, what do you think? Maybe, we have real developers watching this video. Maybe they can pitch in and let us know if this is good, clean code or not. Please leave a comment down below. Now, things can get very tricky when you want to do some deep customization to your project. From what I saw, these tools don't handle that very well. They usually just default to common patterns, or they just play it safe. And if something breaks, well, it's up to you to, let the AI know what's broken, and, let it try and fix it for you, or try and fix it yourself, which would mean, having coding knowledge and, to debug or even understand what went wrong. So yeah, AI can build fast, but that doesn't mean it always builds right. So that begs the question, is this the end of developers? I really don't think so, but the role is evolving. You see, the AI is really good at repetitive stuff, but when it comes to custom interactions, performance, security, or even scaling a real product, then a human touch is still needed. What's really happening is a shift. Professional developers are moving from manual coding to more of a strategic AI-assisted workflow. They're still deciding and refining, but they're not writing every line of code by hand. And honestly, I think the best results come from a human plus AI combo. You bring the creativity and the judgment, and the AI brings the speed and support. So here's a question for you. Is prompt engineering or vibe coding the new must-have skill? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this matter, so drop a comment down below, share your experience, and let us know how you see AI fitting into your workflow. As always, don't forget to check out the Envato Tuts Plus YouTube channel for more content like this, but also to learn about web design, web development, and much more. It's all free, so make sure to hit that like button if you like this video and subscribe for more content like this. I'm Adi. Thank you very much for watching and happy vibe coding.